2015 Volkswagen GTI. It has been a while since I did a proper hot hatch. I've done the Focus ST, I've done an older GTI, a Mark 6 GTI that had APR Stage 2 tune on it, and also the Mazda Speed 3. The ST is a really good package. However, with the Focus RS about to come out, that's kind of the thing that's on everybody's mind nowadays. This car belongs to my buddy Hi. He actually had the 13 WRX I reviewed. It was the first Subaru I ever reviewed, but he decided it was time to let it go, and he got a GTI instead, which is ironic, because he had a sticker on the WRX that said front wheel drive sucks, and yet here we are. That is okay, because this GTI is actually my favorite GTI I have ever driven. Why do you ask? It just feels faster. I know that sounds kind of a cop-out thing to say, but this has Stage 2 tune by Eurodyne, a downpipe, and lowering springs, and that is it. But one thing I've really noticed about this car is that the gears are really long. So you let the turbo kick in and then it just keeps making power all the way through the power band. And this car approximately is making around 300 wheel horsepower, and I completely believe it, trust me. Right now, pushing it through one of our handy dandy back roads, and as we ease into it, brakes are really good. This little 2-liter has a really interesting sound to it. Like, I can't really describe it, but Hi and I have kind of agreed it sounds kind of like a blender. It's not an insult because the engine is really great. I mean, it makes power everywhere. It does not take long for the turbo to kick in because it is a fairly small turbo. For being only lowering springs, it definitely can handle as long as you push through. You have that front wheel drive, just push through. Okay, yeah, this car gives you lots and lots of driver confidence, and it's really easy to downshift. Alrighty. Another thing about the GTI that I love is how stealth it is. As I'm driving this aggressively, I am astonished about just how calm it is. You know, it doesn't ruin everybody's day. You're just kind of cruising along, doing your thing, cruising on the back road, and nobody really cares. One of the biggest things I want to add about this car is pretty much the lack of torque steer. Now, the ST has a little bit. The Speed 3 has an atrocious amount in both generations. However, with the GTI, you'll occasionally get that floatiness through your power band, but for the most part, the wheel is not going back and forth. I mean, rumor has it that even if you were to take your hands off the wheel and accelerate, it would go straight. So to make my point, straight, nothing. By the way, don't do that. Of course, with this extra power, the front wheels do spin occasionally, and if you have the traction control on, it'll do that stutter as you power through it, and of course the traction control screaming at you, just saying, make it stop. If you have traction control off, it just will roast through it a little bit, and then just pull through. It's not bad at all. So a few things I'd also like to add is the clutch. So the clutch on this car, this is not a negative I'm about to tell you. It's a little weird to get used to. It's really light, and I mean ridiculous. Like, from a first gear or a standstill, I stalled it twice. And I haven't stalled a car in a while, but it was because I was being too nice to it. I wasn't giving it enough gas. But however, down the line, it kind of comes into advantage later, because when you want to shift fairly quickly, it's a really light clutch. So you can just go right through the gears pretty easily. Hot hatches always have this kind of practicality and also having a sportiness to them, and this is a complete example. I mean, that's probably the highest driver confidence I've had in a while, and you know, it's because it's pretty dialed in overall. Interior is actually pretty darn nice. The steering wheel's great. very simple layout, buttons are easy, everything's very blatant and easy to understand. It also has really nice heated seats. Yesterday we went to go get food in this thing and it was freezing out. It's winter time now and the heated seats just made our days so much better. And it also has a backup camera, and along with that, the visibility is pretty much perfect. Making my milkshakes, going through the blender. So easy to drive quickly, I cannot express it. Understeer is not that bad. You know, normally in a front wheel drive car that's kind of tuned or whatever, you'll get that annoying understeer when you let out of the gas. But with this, it's not too bad. Now, as many of you guys know on the channel, I'm pretty hardcore about front wheel drive in my opinion of it. I never have hated it. It's just something, it wasn't my taste, you know. But going back to some of my other reviews, it's pretty nuts how I might have taken this car over the new STI. And that is a pretty big thing to say, because I've never been a big Volkswagen person, not because they were bad cars, I just wasn't intrigued by them enough or something like that. But this GTI is a really good car. I'm very impressed, and it's one hell of a daily driver, I can tell you that much. This car is road tripped a lot by high as well, and the seats are really comfortable. Like, I know it sounds like I'm totally sucking up to this thing, but I'm just surprised like how much different it feels compared to some of the other VWs I've driven. Also, side note, this little 2-liter on a road trip with the 6-speed can get up to 40 miles per gallon. What? So not only do you have a pretty quick car, you have 40 miles per gallon. That's ridiculous. That's probably the only thing about this car I'm not crazy about is the sound. Like, it doesn't sound bad, it's just when I get into it, it's not like, oh my god, this is awesome. It's blender all the way through the gear. Nail it at third, just. Oh, we got a little bit of torque steer in that pass. Car is really good at long sweeping turns as well. And go! And bump. On the highway too, it's silent. Like, there is nothing. It's so quiet. A lot of people would ask me if I could have this or the Focus ST, what would I pick? Honestly, it's almost too hard to call, because this thing in a straight line, I 100% believe is faster. There's no contest, I don't think. It's really much of a preference. You know, the ST is a great car, this is a great car. I'm sorry if that's not the answer you want to hear. However, my opinion, drive both, see which one you like better, because they're both freaking great hot hatches. Probably compared to other hatches, like the ST, like I've said before, I know I've been comparing these two, but they're very similar. The ST is definitely more of a torque monster with less horsepower. The GTI is more of a less torquey monster, but with more horsepower. It's kind of like what I said earlier, the German cars, they have that element of like mystique behind them, because you can get on them pretty hard and they're just there. You know, it's not like, say, an American car or a Japanese car that's tuned. It's just loud and crazy and like, it's dramatic. German cars are just so refined that it's just so subtle. You know, you feel the speed and you hear an engine going, but it just does it, you know. All right, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this review video. I know I had a great time. This car really impressed me. I really applaud VW for really refining their GTI. It is a great car. I want to thank Kai so much for driving to my place to let me drive this car once again, and I will see you guys next time, and take it easy. Have a fantastic day.